Hey there, you babies. This is Backwards Star Galactica, the show where two bozos watch Battlestar Galactica for the first time, but backwards. I am your hostess with the mostest, Jesse McGrath. Over there is your heastess with the leastest. That's Fat Wabu Shaw. Let's get into it.
Horrible rhyme. Horrible time. I speak only in riddles now.
Heastess with the leastest is pretty good. Come on.
Heastest with the leastest.
You fucking thought, you wish you thought of that shit.
Welcome to Backwards Star Galactica. It's a show. We do it. Did you explain it already?
Yeah, I explained it. You don't have to do it again. I did it very good.
I just tune it out every time you take your luxurious minute and a half or however long it takes you to say the damn intro.
15 seconds, but it's fine. It was a tight 15.
Rapture.
Yes.
Name of the
Season
episode.
3, episode 12? Question mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, it's like this thing's never gonna end, huh?
Bro, this one was so confusing.
Look, I know we said this last time, but guys, trust us when we say this one was so confusing. Let me give you a quick summary before we get into characters. The first 2 minutes of this, there are nuclear bombs, and there is a place called Algae Planet. So
that's where the algae meatloaf came from, dude.
And I was like, oh, this is just like a flashback or something. Nah, I would say a majority of this episode took place on the newest character, Algae Planet.
Algae Planet's worst quality, his color saturation filter. Because whatever this was like shot in it looked like a student film. And did you notice how like their ship looked like a miniature? Like it was man. So it was like the worst effects I've ever seen. Let's start from the top though, eh?
Yep.
I went to Canada twice this year, so I say A now.
Just get to it. Get to the part of the show.
Can I tell you one more thing about Canada though? Because did you know that in Alberta, the province I went to, instead of saying A, they say hey, but they say it in the same way that they say A. So the first couple times I heard it, I was like, I'm mishearing this. They'd be like, it looks like pretty fun, hey? Or like, oh yeah, that place has a good sandwich, hey? And I was like, I'm not hearing this correctly. And then another person did it, and then a third person, and I was like, why are you all saying that?
Bro, you got pranked by an entire like province. There's no way that was real.
It's fucking bonkers.
Oh man, isn't it weird how nobody gets English right except Americans? That's crazy, right?
Yeah, we didn't even invent it. We're so much better at it than the people that created it.
I love when a non-American English speaker does like an American accent and everyone laughs and it's just like, no, you said the words correctly. Oh, I'm gonna go down to the hot dog stand. Like, yeah.
May I have some aluminum? Yeah. I guess they have a pass on that.
I'm gonna go do some math.
Single, just one math. Ooh, welcome to this week's edition of shitting on other countries.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
So rad and tubular.
Also, make sure you go out and vote, right? Because I feel like that's kind of tied in.
Vote. This episode's brought to you by voting. Actually wouldn't have been a horrible sponsor if I wasn't a big idiot.
Yeah.
So, new character. Lots of people that die.
Yeah, just pretty much
So it's like
nameless.
random soldiers.
Uh-huh.
D is with some partner who gets shot. And then there's some other people with Tublord and Lee that get shot.
So, obviously, we knew that they were going to die because, like, they don't show up ever again. Or that, like, at least some of them are going to die. Plus, you just know some are going to die.
You just know. If they're on a battlefield with a bunch of unknown people that aren't talking, just, like, watching the main person talk a bunch.
Right.
You did.
But I feel like you would even know. I think that this show might not be very good at killing off characters that matter because I think that every time someone dies, it's basically where, like, we don't ever see them again anyways. Like, they show up in that episode and you could pretty much pin it. Oh yeah, that they're gonna die for sure.
Yeah,
they're dead because they have one line.
If you've ever had one line and not shown up in any of the other episodes, you might be dead on Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, doing a hot new bit.
I'm doing Jeff Foxworthy.
What's this guy's name? What's his name?
Jeff Fraxworthy.
Oh, goddamn. All right, you got it in one.
Pulled that one out of between my toes. Shit list, D. I hate how she's just like so obviously begrudgingly rescuing Starbuck. It's one thing to hate Starbuck, I get it. Can't you just like be professional for even 2 seconds?
It's also weird. I don't get why she's the one doing it, but I guess I don't get much of what's happening.
Yeah, we didn't see any of this. Is like clearly the second, like a 2-parter. So this is obviously like the setup to whatever, or the payoff to whatever happens in the first part. But so D is shit list. My other shit list is John for all of his horrible hats.
Yep, he's got a bad hat.
2 times he has different horrible hats. They go to like this area at some point that looks like an old ancient temple, and so it looks like John is in a Halloween costume to be Indiana Jones.
It really does. And what sucks is in my notes before he even shows up there, I wrote, "Oh shit, Galen's doing some Indiana Jones shit," because he's like reading hieroglyphs, which we'll talk about later.
Wait, but just real quick on that Galen thing, when it cuts to Galen for the first time trying to figure out these hieroglyphs, he's literally standing by himself going, think. It was like a fucking parody. It was so stupid. But yeah, John has that shitty hat, and then also at the end, he when he's by the tub in that goddamn tub factory, which was a nightmare for me, he is wearing a different shitty black hat.
Yeah.
So yeah, shit list for all his shitty hats. Leaderboard to me was Starbuck, because she's like, I don't know, to me like the mentally and sometimes physically toughest person on the show.
Okay, I'll take that. That's a good one.
Everyone else is just like a little goddamn baby all the time, and she is like constantly in peril, and handles it pretty well. Like, I thought her acting was pretty good too. Like, her pain acting was not super over the top. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I'll give you all them points. Leaderboard for me gotta be Galen. I mean, he's figuring out hieroglyphs, which is hilarious to me, and also
he did such a bad job of figuring them out. His line when they say like, "Well, I got something about an eye and an explosion. I think I figured it out."
Right, and it's like, "Oh, you got that from the place that houses the Eye of Jupiter." So I love that.
Shut up, Galen.
But also, he fucking whips Gaius at the end of this episode. Like, pistol whips him super hard after he delivers, like, for a show that has, like, mostly pretty shitty dialogue, a decent line. I think he says, like, "Welcome back, Mr. President," or, like, "Nice to see you, Mr. President."
Yeah.
And then just backhands the fuck out of him, which was
And then
tight.
also, they bring Gaius to the ship in a sealed body bag.
I love it.
Like a dead person. And also, like, what if he woke up and couldn't breathe? Like, I'm surprised he wasn't dead when they opened it. I'm surprised they didn't go, "No, he's alive." Oh, shit.
Well, and somebody's like, "Is he alive?" And then I think Galen says, "Unfortunately." And it's like, well, you could have killed him. Like, nobody knew that he was in there. Like, you definitely could have just made him dead. So
I don't know how he breathed in there.
So that's my one single leaderboard. My shit list is the whole like crew that comes up with this like cool sick plan to kill these like 2 robots, and they can't even do it. Like, when they're
they're all so sweaty.
when they're making the plan, they make it sound like it's like the fucking scene in 300 where they're like, we're gonna push them up against the Hell's Gates or whatever, and they're gonna fall in droves, and it's 3 robots and they kill 0 robots in this weird maneuver they do. So I'm out on that. That's a big shit list for me. I forgot I have one more leaderboard.
Go on.
Them robots that have the gun arms, which is so funny to me because, like, damn, you don't have any other functions. You can't even carry something because you got guns for arms. When they're running down the hill.
Oh, like, yeah, it was so funny.
Their bodies are angled in such a way that makes like they would definitely be toppling over. They're like so leaned forward. It's already really funny to watch like a person run down a hill because it looks so bad.
Like, bad CGI robots.
Yeah, but the robots. So those 2 robots that were just like, whoa, like. So I'm gonna give those 2 robots. Do we have a name for them robots? I know that they call them like toasters at one point.
They're not the Centurions.
Right. He calls them toasters, and he calls them something else.
They call chrome jobs. Ooh,
chrome jobs.
Yeah, I don't like.
Yeah, none of them sound like natural at all. I got a question for you.
Go on.
So Lucy Lawless, is in this episode.
Yeah.
And she does a good job. I actually like. I mean, I guess leaderboard. She doesn't really do a whole lot, but I think she's cool. I think she does alright.
Are you gonna ask me if she dies at the end? Where does the other one come from?
Yep. You got to answer or not?
No, I don't have one, unfortunately, because I was also wondering that. I mean, the last shot of this episode is Lucy Lawless in a tub. Like, she dies, and then she gets put back in a tub, so the tubs are like little Cylon factories.
Oh my god, there's so many tubs in this episode, by the way. We're going to say it a lot. There's a ton of tubs.
There's so many tubs. Too many tubs. And she like gets unplugged, which I guess kills her. Doesn't make any sense to me how they can live outside the tub unless they're in it.
Yeah.
And then it pulls back, and there are just so many tubs. It's like at the end of Indiana Jones, or not the end of Indiana Jones, but it's in Indiana Jones with that big warehouse.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that big. That's probably a bad comparison.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but I get what you're saying. But and he makes a big speech. John makes a big speech about like, boy, it sucks to wake up from the tub, huh? Luckily, you'll never have to do it again because you're being discontinued. Like, we're killing you, basically.
Yeah.
We're boxing you up.
And
I think
he
they call it boxing.
He's wearing a hat.
His goofy hat, which I don't understand. You're in a spaceship. You don't need this fucking sun hat. He looks like somebody's dad.
He looks like a football coach.
Then
what is their ship? Why is it flash? Like, what's with the light show that's going on in their ship? It seems it can't possibly have like a practical function. Like, it's got to be decorative.
How about the liquid computer that Lucy Lawless uses to call the ships back? She dips her fingers into this like wet computer screen. It's like, if you were listening to this podcast, I'm sorry. If you were listening to this podcast, if you've never watched Battlestar, you might think that we're making this up. But like, there was a tub computer. It was a computer that was like inset that had like. If you are
listening to this podcast and you have not watched Battlestar, why are you listening to this podcast? What is wrong with you? Check yourself into a mental institution.
I do not understand this weird little computer. It was like a paint, you know, like when you're gonna paint the walls and you have like a paint tray. It was like that amount of liquid on top of a frizzle-frazzle screen that she just like touches and doesn't move or anything, which
I feel
great.
Like Ronnie D was like, guys, let's put a liquid computer in, and everyone's like, no thanks, and he's like, you gotta do it. And that was the end of the conversation.
I would love like like on the DVD like commentary section, it's just like 7 different cast and crew members who are like, do you guys get how obsessed this weirdo is with like dipping things in liquid? Every fucking episode. It's not even an Easter egg.
They all gotta dip their fingers in the tub.
Everybody's dipping fingers in tub. There's 100 tub.
Do you think
every damn tub?
Do you think Ronald D. Moore gets home from a nice long day of filming Battlestar Galactica, draws himself a nice, beautiful bubble bath, and then just sits by it and dips his fingies in it and doesn't actually 100%. Take a bath?
He has a little milking stool like that.
Do you think his tub is custom designed to look like a tub?
Oh no! And it's filled with that fucking white milk.
No, the milk cum. Do you
Ronald
remember
D. Moore's milk tub?
No.
What a fucking nightmare!
God,
it's so bad. It's like if you gave fucking Quentin Tarantino a television show, and then it was just like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna put feet. I'm not gonna put foot in every episode. Like, that's what he does. But since it's movies, it's not as weird when it's every episode of a fucking 300 episode long television series.
Yeah, it's like a John Woo TV show where every single episode there are a bunch of doves fly by.
Yeah, but it's tubs instead of dubs. You
ever think how obnoxious to have a directorial signature be a bunch of doves?
I think, actually, I'm going to go against you. I think any directorial signature that involves live animals is funny as hell to me.
Yeah, it'd be funny if they were like more of an extreme animal, like a giraffe. Like
a herd of elephant. That's his signature.
Why was a big live giraffe in this 2004 Ben Affleck movie? That's right, you guessed it. I'm talking about Paycheck. Let's talk about Paycheck for a long time. Welcome to our sponsor, Paycheck. It's not.
No!
It's not. But I should do that one day. But speaking of, do you hear that?
Oh, no.
Listen harder. Welcome to our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Rube Goldberg Machines.
Yeah, dude.
I just watched one about 10 minutes ago. And
was it 10 minutes long?
Yeah. 10 minutes before we started recording. And I said to myself, I forgot to do a sponsor today. And I love these things so much. They're so cool. If you don't know what a Rube Goldberg machine is, fuck you. But it's like a big mousetrappy contraption thing where things fall into other things and make a lot of stuff happen.
Yeah,
Boy, what a bad description.
The game Mousetrap is a Rube Goldberg machine.
Yes.
That's all it is, too. It's hardly a game at all.
I don't remember what you do in that game.
Are move you on the board, mouse? And that's it. Yeah, you're a bunch of mice, and you
so you have to set up a whole. Do you have to set the thing up before every game?
Dog, please let's not talk about the rules and regulations to the board game Mousetrap, which was very bad, if you recall.
Is that game discontinued, or is that still going?
It's gotta be. There's so many choking hazards. It doesn't make any sense. It's not fun.
What's the game?
It's hard as hell to set up.
So the setup is you have to set up a whole Rube Goldberg machine, and then just try not to set it off? But if you got through the whole thing and it didn't set off, wouldn't you feel disappointed?
Okay,
anyways,
why don't you... I'm gonna Google Mousetrap, the game.
Rube Goldberg machines are delightful, and especially, I love the fact that, like, you never see bad or stupid ones. Whenever they're being shared on the internet, they're so cool. OK Go had that really awesome one in one of their music videos. I watched one today that was great. It involved a little bouncy ball that is constantly stopping, and then something else will give it velocity to go bunch. It was so cool.
Love that. When I was in 8th grade, the final project every year was every student had to do a big group project, and the group project was to make a Rube Goldberg machine. So I made one. And mine kind of sucked, but there were some fucking dope ones. Well, instead of telling you about my shitty one, I do want to, for the second episode in a row, I think, bring up Mike Luciani, because we went to junior high together, and his was Feed Michael Luciani was his Rube Goldberg machine, and it just did a bunch of shit in order to, like, push food into the mouth of this, like, cardboard mic they had made.
God.
It was so gross.
Disgusting. We'll give you his phone number at the end of the show.
Yeah, for sure, death.
So you could text him about it.
Yeah, but those things are dope as hell, and the problem with them is I never want to stop watching. Like,
I don't want it to end. Yeah.
In the middle of something, and like I am like just like really quickly like scrolling through Facebook, and then I see one, and I'm like, shit, this video is 18 minutes long, and I just 18 minutes of my day are gonna be gone. I can't not watch the end of this.
They're so
What's
good.
gonna happen?
I gotta send you this. Maybe I'll even link to it.
Oh fuck yeah,
post.
You gotta.
You could do that.
I got a real quick question.
Go on.
Who the fuck Rube Goldberg?
Oh.
I gotta hit this up, because like,
is it WikiLeaks?
What a thing to be famous for. Oh yeah, we're double dipping here. We're getting a little WikiLeaks.
How spoiled do all of you feel?
Oh, born in San Francisco, California, and died in New York City. Who is this guy? Me, right?
Yeah, because I'm about to come kill you.
Oh, he went to UC Berkeley. Oh shit, this guy's a Bay Area man.
So not you. A much better school than you went to.
Well, yeah, I went to fucking Rubbish Town, USA. Yeah.
Yeah, so embarrassing, your college.
His father was a police and fire commissioner in San Francisco. Yo, this guy is so much cooler.
So when did he first create his Rube Goldberg machine? And did he call it a Rube Goldberg machine? Because that would be so obnoxious.
Oh my god.
What if I built something and I was like, it did something like practical and had nothing to do with me, and I was like, it's called a Wilder Shaw machine. This guy fucks.
And they came from cartoons, so he wasn't even like a scientist. It was like, they were like little one-panel comics that were like funny because it was somebody using an insane Rube Goldberg machine to do something. And the main character of these, like, he had a comic strip. So let me just read this to you. He is now best known for his strip, The Inventions of Professor Lucifer Gorgonzola Butts. And he's a professor.
That was almost my name.
This one they have in here is just called Professor Butts and the Self-Operating Napkin.
Get out of here.
Lucifer Gorgonzola Butts.
That's really
Jesus Christ. Oh, boy.
All of those words are equally shocking to hear after one another. No one of those names is more out of place.
Oh, man. And he's a fucking PhD. He's Dr. Butts.
Dr. Lucifer Gorgonzola
Butts. This is like, I could not think of a better name if I tried 100 years. That's the perfect name.
It is. It's the best of all time.
Okay, so that was a little sneak attack. That was a true wiki peek. I mean, that peeked right up on us.
Yeah, it really did peek right up on us.
Jesus Christ. This was incredible.
Holy shit.
Just kind of cut through this wiki because it is good. It's got a little bunch of good little nuggets in there.
Speaking of nuggets. Nuggets is a thing that they say on the show Battlestar Galactica. Welcome back. So this was your transition.
So why don't you explain this whole episode to me?
What happened to Starbuck's hands?
Yeah. So Starbuck got burnt-ass hands.
Why are only her hands damaged?
I hope that it shows her like steering her little spaceship or whatever, and the steering stick just lights on fire. It just catches ablaze.
You think that's what's going to happen?
I think what else could happen?
So we open on lots of explosions. Bombs, people running around, shooting, guns. Starbuck has crashed on a planet, and there's some sort of rescue mission to get her, but the planet's being guarded by robots, and also there's a temple inside of which stands Galen, his 17-year-old wife, Callie.
The more you say the plot of this episode, the more it sounds like a level in like Spyro the Dragon. Like robots and temples, and it's called Algae Planet.
It was hard for me to understand what was going on down there. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we got Hilo and Athena, and he shoots her so she can be reborn into a tub and then like infiltrate the bad guy ship, steal their baby, come back, and they bring Caprica with
I
her.
do think that's kind of a dope idea. I thought that was kind of a good... I didn't get it at first. I really super didn't understand.
I wonder if he's done it before, because he has sort of a mild reaction to seeing her again. Like, he just jumped right in on that next wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't just like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm seeing you again. It was like, what up?
That's a pretty good... See, that's another dilemma that I feel like they might not fuck with, but like is a really good one. What if you had a wife, you Wilder? I know this is a big kind of a really elaborate and impossible fantasy.
Are you talking about my wife?
So Wilder has his wife, and then you have a baby, but also your wife is immortal. Like, she will live for essentially ever, and you won't. That's kind of like a weird, fucked up type of thing, right?
Yeah, and like if I get sick of this one...
She never gonna die.
No, I mean, I get sick of her, Capra one, just get a new one at the tub.
Yeah, but it feels like they're kind of the same. That's the whole point.
Oh, she'd know, too. She'd know because they retain their
Right, she'd be like, hey, why don't you not kill me? That would be kind of a fun goof, though, huh?
Like April Fool's, saw her head off. You know, a classic April Fool's where you saw someone's head off.
Oh, man, you could be a great magician, right? Where you're like...
I would booby trap... Oh, that's kind of almost the plot of The Prestige.
Yeah, right. Sure. Exactly correct.
You know what I would do? I would booby trap the house a la Home Alone. But they would be like much more deadly.
Saw. You're talking about Saw and not Home
Fool's
Alone. You're thinking of a different movie with traps.
Yeah. You got to spice it up. Throw her a Saw. I would start a business for Cylons where it's like an escape room, like whatever theme they want. They can charge me. I charge by the hour. I build a horror nightmare situation based on any theme you want. I kill you in it, and then you.
Who is this for?
Emerge.
This is for the Cylons. They want to die.
This is for Cylons. It's a Cylon. Yeah, it's like kind of like a upper level thrill seeker experience. It's like the evolved form of a haunted house.
How come none of the Cylons are ever like, yo, somebody shoot me out of a cannon right now. Shoot me into space. Just do it. Do it for the fun of it.
Yeah, it'd be so fun. But they feel pain.
They do feel pain.
You know?
That's correct. But I feel like at a certain point you could sort of get over it, right? Like you would get over it.
If you were a Cylon and you knew you could be birthed into a tub,
okay,
how would you do it? This is dark.
How would I?
This is basically just describing suicide.
Yeah, how would you commit suicide? Yeah, no, that's a good point. I would like kind of surprise people and make it seem like they had done it. So,
Oh,
like I'd be standing
the
at
murder mystery. Leave the gun in their hand.
Well, so like I had no. Like I had been standing in front of a bus stop.
That would be such a good murder mystery party.
What? Well, let me tell my bus stop scenario first. Then you get your murder mystery.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So I'm standing at a bus stop, and no one's really paying attention. All looking at their phones, and then I'm like, "Whoa! This lady just pushed me!" And then I get hit by a bus and die. And then everyone's like, "Jesus Christ! That lady just pushed him."
Oh, you frame her.
Yeah.
You'd frame just some lady.
Well, no, and then
bus?
like 3 hours later, when I'm birthed from my milk bath, I'm like, "Gotcha." I give her the old like. I give her.
Oh, and she laughs and laughs.
Yeah. I'm like, did I do that?
She is in jail. Yeah, you'd Urkel her.
She's like, fuck, I got Urkeled again by this goddamn Cylon.
Can you imagine something more horrible?
Than if you thought you had committed murder or you were going to be blamed for murder, and then the guy that you murdered
they did Urkel to
just popped up in the window and said, did I do that?
Oh my god, that's a whole fucking nightmare.
Anyways, what's your murder thing?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Do you notice Cylons believe in one god?
Yeah, but the people
and everyone else believes in multiple.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to care about that, and I just don't. I don't care. It's boring. All of the religion shit in this show is boring as fuck. But I did have like a revelation this episode that I think like makes the show better to me. But even though we did learn this in like the last episode, the first episode that we technically watched, but I guess it just sort of dawned on me.
Shit about that.
This episode has a portion where fucking Hilo or whatever that dude's name is like ask Starbuck, do you have those pictures of your apartment? And she's like, yeah, which is weird.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's I wanted to talk about this.
So she has drawings in her apartment that are identical to symbols found in this like temple that they're in on Algae Planet, and it's like a big freak out. And we know that this is because like she is like the harbinger of her death, and I guess like.
But remember, that must have been what she was painting,
right? And
I wonder if Eddie J was painting that too.
Could have been.
Probably
might
not.
be a thing. But what I realized is like this is. We're getting like Earth's origin story, sort of like our Earth's origin story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes the show more interesting to me. And I realized that we learned that the first time we watched it, but I didn't really dawn on me until like, oh, so this is, if I think about her as like death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then like that's kind of cool. That's kind of
She's
neat.
not death yet, though.
No, she is, because she talks in this one about like being fated. Like she is death, she just doesn't fully know it yet. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Just like how Gaius is something. I don't know really what Gaius is supposed to be. If he's like God or like evil or something. I don't know.
Are you ready for like all the scenes with Gaius that coming up for us are going to be on the bad guy ship with Horrible John and his hats? So Blondie, what'd you say his name was? You said you like heard his name, and it was so insane that I couldn't remember it. My brain would not record it.
I know. Now I can't remember it. You willed it out of my brain.
Great. It was like Lubrica. It wasn't Lubrica, but it was something.
I know what you're talking about.
Laramie. Laramie, he was making her paint that.
Yeah. Yes. Correct.
Remember?
Yes.
What? So now explain it to me.
I don't know what that's about.
This is the 13th tribe's planet.
Yeah, I guess so.
They've mentioned the 13th tribe before.
They have, that's true.
Do you have any more clarification?
I know that this planet, like, maybe explodes.
Yeah, after that Breath of the Wild style blood moon that happens.
Yes, I know that Lucy Lawless sees one of the Final Five, and we know who the Final Five are, and she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And I just hope it was Tub Lord. I hope so bad that it was Tub Lord that she was, like, apologizing for because she didn't know how awesome and fucking rad he was. And then there's a part we can probably touch on a little bit, where one of the Cylons is gonna kill the baby. Remember that part?
Oh yeah, there's that
we
part.
We skipped over the baby murder scene.
There's one of the Athenas, or Boomer, depending on how you look at it. And she, after Athena, real Athena, gets shot, rebirths in a Cylon birth tub, gets out of the tub, tries to save her baby, bring her back to the Galactica. The other evil Boomer, what model is she?
No idea.
She tries to stop her. She's like, I don't remember like what makes her so mad, but she wants to kill the baby. Caprica snaps her neck.
What I don't understand, regardless of what she did, is how she even managed to like how did you sneak up? There are 3 people in this room. How did you lose sight of one of the people? And the other one of them looks like you, and the other one looks the opposite of you. So, like, how did you...
Lash Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, like, what do you... There's only 2 other people in the room.
Why? What's with their outfits?
I don't...
Why does Caprica never change her clothes? Like, I know she's in captivity for, like, a lot of the rest of the season, but, like, why is she always in the same outfit? Like, she's, like, a cartoon character.
I have no idea. And, like...
And it's like a gown, also. Everyone else is wearing, like, normal shit.
Right, and you can't even say, like, well, that's the Cylons, because, like, John's definitely changing clothes. That motherfucker had more than one hat this episode.
Yeah, he's got a closet full of hats. Do you think he only has hats, and everyone's like, John, you need to have more clothes than just hats?
This isn't it. This isn't it.
He's just got, like, a hat on his dick.
He's like, is this anything? To wrap it around. He's like, is this it? Did I do it? And they're like, John, this isn't it.
He's like a baby.
It's not just hats. And he's like, it's just hats? And you're like, no, it's not just hats, John.
Hey, I think that's going to do it.
Yep.
Thanks for listening to this bucket of vomit we keep putting out.
They're getting longer. We got to cool it.
Getting so much longer. Oh, my God. Thank you to Adam Faye for the art. Thank you to T-Bone Jones for the theme music. Follow us on Twitter, BackwardsSG. Follow us on Instagram, BackwardsStarGalactica.
Yeah, leave us we haven't talked about this, I feel like, in a minute. Leave us a review, why don't you?
Leave us a review, why don't you?
Oh, and did you tell them what to listen on it so we get bunnies?
Oh, good call. Hey, everybody. You're probably listening to this on iTunes, which is convenient and normal for any person who listens to podcasts. But guess what? You could do something more complicated than that if you want. We are on Radio Public now, which means that if you're listening to it on Radio Public, we get paid for it, which is great, and we don't deserve because this is, as I mentioned, is trash. But if you feel like supporting the show, you can listen to us through the Radio Public app, which is a podcast app that you can put on your phone, and we would appreciate it. That's what we're going to be linking to from now on, but new episodes will always be on iTunes and stuff like that.
Like if you've got other friends or you really like, whatever.
And guess what? You've been stuck wondering, what should I do? I want to write a review. I don't know what to say. We'll write your review for you right now. You could just take this, put it right in the review box, give us 5 stars, await your prize.
Yes.
Dear sir or madam, I guess you wouldn't start a review that way. This podcast is a podcast, period. It runs 20 to 30 minutes in length, over 30 these days. You should listen to it if you care about your family and you want them to live. What do you think?
I think it's time to go, everyone. Bye-bye. We'll give you Mike's phone number next week.